for the battered but proud people of the Empire State. From the financial and entertainment epicenter of New York City to the sleeping and empty small cities and towns of upstate, which once bustled with manufacturing, mining, and farming. We all know from inspiration, history, and nature, we deserve a return to the success and growth of generations past, a birthright being squandered by corruption in Albany, and the depredations of an insecure, scheming mountebank posing as governor, who loathes both us and himself. As liberty beckoned to enslaved peoples behind the Iron Curtain via American broadcasts after World War II, we now say, believe, rise, and join us. Welcome to Radio Free New York.
Hey guys, welcome to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister, and today we've got Kevin Wilson here with us today.
Howdy.
Hey Kevin, it feels like a long time since we've done a show together, but every day seems to be just longer and
years.
Yeah, yeah.
Every day is an eternity.
Yeah, absolutely. But I've got really good news. I talked about this a little bit yesterday. The weather was nice enough. I pulled my motorcycle out of the garage and got a chance to whip around a little bit on the roads, which was just an awesome experience. And, you know, positive thing, there were less cars, so I had to worry a little bit less about getting hit. And today looks like it is going to be a beautiful day, so after the show, I'm probably going to go out and do the same thing.
Go out on the road some more?
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Before all the crazies get on the road and, you know, start swerving around without their blinkers and stuff like that.
Yeah, right. Well, maybe there's fewer people on the road now, so you have a little bit less to worry about, but not a ton.
Yeah, absolutely. But to that point, if you're listening to the show and you are driving around on the roads, it's just kind of a friendly reminder. Motorcycle season is starting, so please, you know, before you shift lanes, before you slam on your brakes or anything like that, you know, just look one more time. Make sure there's not a motorcyclist there in your blind spot, because there's a possibility it could be me. And of course, I try to be as safe as I possibly can be on the road, but I rely on everybody else to be safe too, so that we don't have any accidents. And for sure, what I really, really, really don't want to do is get into an accident right now and have to go to one of those COVID-19 hospitals.
No.
I'd really, really appreciate avoiding that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something to avoid. And I've been thinking about that too, because I've been running more, because I'm like, man, I just need to like get out of the house more often. So I've been doing trail running, but I'm like, man, if I twist my ankle on one of these trails, like I really don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, think about this. I mean, if you get yourself injured, that whole social distancing bubble that everybody's being encouraged to do right now, that just goes straight out the window, right? Because
Gone.
now you've got, you know, an EMT or a paramedic maybe showing to pick you up. Guess what? They've come into contact with how many patients before you. It's not like they've had time to sanitize their clothes. Maybe they have a fresh mask. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't have
Probably
a mask
fresh
at all.
mask, maybe gloves, probably, but no, it's a
questionable.
risk.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if they gotta take you to the hospital, guaranteed there's gonna be some patients at the hospital who have COVID-19. So it's really in all of our best interest to not injure ourselves and not need EMS services right
Good
now.
plan. I mean,
Yeah.
generally good advice too. Just probably
just
don't
in
injure yourself.
general,
Man, it's not going to be a free for all after this thing's over. All right, great. I've always wanted to break my leg. Perfect.
yeah. Now's the time to do it, right? So, you know, Kevin, what are you doing to pass the time right now? You know, I'm riding my motorcycle. I'm doing some home construction work. What are you doing from home?
Yeah, I mean, it is like getting out on the trails, which I've noticed there's kind of a lot of people out on the trails actually. Like everywhere I go, parking lots are full, so it's getting out there, doing that, running. And then at home, it's trying to clean up the yard, maybe do a little bit more gardening than I usually do because I'm gonna be home more.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
that type of stuff. I was able to buy food, like some new seeds, even though I've seen in other states where seeds aren't considered an essential item, so they'll like caution tape off like these things of seeds and say nope, you can't buy them.
So government doesn't want to allow people to grow their own food now.
Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, and speaking of government and being allowed to do some of this stuff, today's topic is going to be about local government. And today is Tuesday, so Tuesday is our talk of the town. Today is Tuesday, right? Is that?
it is
is
Tuesday.
that
It's
making
all a
sure.
blur now.
Yeah, it really is a blur. So today is Tuesday. For those of you who might be listening to the show and you're unsure, today is Tuesday. Tuesday is our talk of the town. And one of the things that Kevin brought up that we should definitely talk about is what is the role of local government during pandemics, and what can local government do? So I think we've had a huge focus on the federal government, absolutely. The state government for sure, especially with Cuomo broadcasting almost every single day, and seemingly tightening up restrictions on individuals and businesses every single day. And there's been just a tremendous amount of focus on state government, on federal government, but I haven't heard a whole lot about local government, county government, city government, maybe town government. What is their role in all of this? How do they interact? Do they just shut down and get out of the way, or are they doing similar things where they're kind of tightening up the noose, if you will, and shutting people down?
Yeah.
Um, these are
Plus,
all questions.
yeah, like that weighed against like what services are considered essential enough to send people out. Like garbage services are still running, water services are still running, but what other stuff? I noticed that at least the last time I went downtown, they still had the St. Patrick's Day signs up. I don't know if that's changed since, but
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a good question. I know in my area, I think this was citywide. The city did reduce down, and they're not doing the bulk trash
yep,
pickup anymore. So if you threw I don't know, a hot water tank or a couch out on the curb, it's probably still sitting there because
it's
they're
gonna be
not
sitting there
doing
a
that this
while.
week. Yeah, yeah. And what I don't know if that's to reduce payroll. I don't know if that's to reduce the workforce. I don't know if it's because there's just no tax dollars rolling in because of all of this. And those are all questions. And I also wonder for our listeners if local government is reducing things in your town or your city or your village as well. One thing I did notice though, and Kevin, I don't know if you saw this, Monroe County, which is my home county, has announced that they're asking people to now wear masks whenever they are in public to cover their
Yeah,
faces.
no, I did see that
So
one.
yeah, yeah, and this is something I've been talking about for weeks now. A lot of people are very resistant to this. They say they don't want to change their lifestyle, or they're not sick, and it won't prevent them from getting sick. Guys, it's actually not about that. It's
Yeah,
about wearing something to cover your face in case you don't have symptoms. Which, if you contract COVID-19, your first 10 days you're not going to have symptoms, but you are infectious. Creating that barrier um, from you potentially spreading it to somebody
yeah,
else.
that's
So,
it.
you're right. Wearing a mask isn't going to prevent you from getting it, but you might already have it, and you you probably don't
Yeah.
know that. And
So helps
wearing the
prevent
mask
from
will
going
help.
out,
Yep.
and it also does protect you like a little bit, but just not very much. Like don't think it's gonna keep you safe, but like it helps a tiny bit, but not a lot. Especially if
Yeah,
you're just
yeah,
using a cloth mask.
yeah.
So
The
it's
difference
not.
is pretty negligible, I think.
Yeah,
But since we're talking about local government, we thought it would be a great idea to bring somebody in on the show to talk about what's going on in local government. And we have somebody who's going to join us here in the next segment after our break. He's a city council person in Rochester, newly elected, so kind of fresh blood in city council, if you will, from the Northwest District, which to me is an interesting district because a lot of people think of the city as strictly Democratic, but the Northwest District I think is a truly purple district where there's a pretty good blend of Republicans, Independents, Democrats. So the district is just a bit different than the rest of the city. So we're going to bring this person on. When we come back in a moment, you're listening to Radio Free New York.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
College Assistance Plus has worked with thousands of families, saving them millions of dollars. It can be stressful choosing the right college, but we're here to help. CA Plus will guide you from college visits to college graduation and through every step in between. Each student and family situation is different, and we work to accommodate those specific needs. Call today for a free family meeting, 585-582-1846, or visit collegeassistanceplus.com for more information. College is expensive. College Assistance Plus can help.
A reminder from Abate Monroe County. American bikers aim toward education. Distracted driving is dangerous, so pull over and eat. Don't try to read your mail and newspaper, and stay off your cell phone. Make a mental note to be more alert, making it a habit to expect the unexpected. Remember to look twice. Save a life. Train yourself to watch for motorcycles which are harder to see. Join Abate, and your family will be protected with a free $4,000 accident policy. Ride safe. Ride free. Ride often. Abate. If you ride with us. Google Abate Monroe County.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
You're listening to Radio Free New York.
All right, welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. We've got Kevin Wilson here for our Talk of the Town, and we've got Jose Pio on the phone, who is city councilman of in Rochester, New York.
What's going on, Andrew?
Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, why don't we just talk a little bit about City of Rochester? You're the Northwest District City Councilman. There are 5 at-large and 4 districts. What does the Northwest cover?
Northwest covers from the beach to 490. So it's a pretty big, pretty diverse neighborhood. I love it because it's so diverse. But it's quite big, and it goes out to a little past Mount Reed over on the southern side.
Great. And so for, we were just talking about in the previous segment how we're hearing a lot about federal government. We're hearing a lot about state government, what they're doing in terms of things like stimulus packages, restrictions, and in some ways government is really, really getting in the way In other ways, government's reducing restrictions and regulations that's allowing us to get access to more medical personnel. But what we haven't really talked about is local government and what local government is doing, what local government can do. And so having you here on the show, we figured we could kind of ask, like, what can government do? And it doesn't necessarily have to be what government is currently doing, but what can our local governments do to ease things on people while this is going on?
Well, in my opinion, there's a couple other things, or a couple of things you can do. One is being proactive. I mean, we can either put forth the proper legislation to really help the people here locally when it comes to their property taxes, when it comes to businesses that are located within the city limits. And then there's being reactive, which is really just sitting back and waiting for the county and state to pretty much dictate what we should be doing, which I'm not a big fan of being reactive. I want to be proactive. And that's why last month I tried submitting a legislation asking for, really big help when it comes to people not being able to pay their property taxes, giving them an extension, giving them a 0% interest for 6 months to be able to not only get past the coronavirus pandemic that we're in right now, but be able to slide back into the regular workforce without having to, okay, now all your bills are back due. You're back at work. All your bills are due now. Let's go. There's got to be a ramp-up period. So I put that forth. It got completely turned down without even really discussion. So, it's what can the city do? The city can do a couple of things. They can really help out our local residents, but we need a proactive administration, and right now we just don't have it.
Yeah, and I think one question I have is and this is a conversation a lot of young families have and people entering retirement age as well. We look at property tax here in New York and we see it's just so much more expensive than other states around us, especially it seems the further south you go, the less and less the property taxes are. Do you think that this is a good time for local government and state government as well to sit down and really assess what people are paying in property tax and make a reduction, not just for the pandemic, but also can we make this long term? Can we really assess what we're spending dollars on and see if we can make some long lasting changes to lighten the load on the small businesses and the residents who really want to stay here in Rochester?
Well, it's a kind of a double-edged sword there. We can take a look at, reassessing the properties, but will we? No. They just reassessed it. They just increased the values of homes in the city of Rochester. I believe across the board was approximately 13% increase in value, and they're not going to go back on it. I know they're not going to look back at it and say, okay, we got a pandemic. House prices are probably going to fall a little bit due to the current housing market, the way that it is, and on top of that, are we getting what we're paying for? Can we truly sit here and say, as citizens of the city of Rochester, are we getting what we are paying for? And I believe that if you ask the normal, everyday citizen, they would explicitly say no. And so we should take a look at that and say, if we are charging some of the highest taxes in all of the country, really, is this worth it? And are we getting what we are paying for?
Yeah, and I'll say, so I'm a city resident. I definitely say no. Kevin is also a city resident. Kevin, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I'm a little bit skeptical of that too. And I know because whenever I've asked politicians about this, usually when I ask about the reassessment thing, they say, oh, well, it's formulaic. We can't change anything about it. It's kind of out of our hands. I mean, is that true?
That's an easy, and that's the easy cop out is what it is. The way our administration is, if you push them hard enough, they will react. But you have to push them hard enough. You have to pretty much essentially sue the mayor in order for her to do what's right, as we've seen in numerous instances. So unless it is completely on board with what they want to do and what they want to accomplish, they're going to push back as much as they can until they are forced to act. We saw that with the brownouts of the firehouses. They had that agenda already put forth. They already had it planned out. It took, quite a few different communities to come together to really force that back into action and put our firemen back to work.
Yeah, and I think another example is probably Parcel 5, right? Where the city clearly has an agenda. The community wants something totally different. And I think that's been an ongoing, what is it, 2, maybe 3-year battle at this point, and still nothing's really happened.
But that's the thing, should it be a battle? It shouldn't be a battle. If you just listen to what the constituents want and you narrow it down to, okay, these are the 3, pick which one. I'm going to put forth what the community wants as a whole for the city of Rochester. You know, if it goes bad, it's not on me. You guys chose it. You know what I mean? That's like the easiest for everything. That's why I want to run the Northwest is just tell me what it is that you want to see in your neighborhoods. I will make sure you have the proper things to put it into place, you know, the proper resources. This is how you get it done, and run it the way you want to in your neighborhood. I'm tired of the city coming in and saying this is how we want it to be done and having their own agenda. It's just not me.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think that people should be able to take charge in their neighborhoods. I think they should be able to have ownership in their neighborhoods, and that city government should really be as small as possible, and really just be a partner with the community, helping the community with the decisions that they're making, really just getting out of the way and being there as you know, a partner to help facilitate things happening. You know, the city has resources, and I'm not necessarily saying monetary resources, but the city knows when you want to do something in your community, how to interact with RG&E. How to, you know, move things along through our ridiculous process for things like zoning. The city should be there as a partner, I think. And this isn't limited to the city, too. I mean, the 3 of us just happen to be in the city of Rochester. But those of you listening, you know, you could be in Hornell, you could be in Spencerport, you could be in Greece. You know, a town government should operate the same way. It shouldn't be a barrier. It should be like a helpful partner to facilitate what you want to do with your property and your community.
They should represent you. And this is going to come back to your previous question when it comes to taxes and do you feel as though you are getting your money's worth? If your representatives are giving you the resources to run your neighborhoods the way you want your neighborhoods to feel, look, live like, you will feel as though your taxes are going towards something more beneficial for you and your family. You will feel as though it is not, you know, you're not getting, you're not overpaying on your taxes. You'll feel as though my taxes are going to the right things because I've created an environment around which I want to raise my family.
Yeah. Well, can I push back on that a little bit? Actually, just because I'm active in neighborhood groups. I see how these things go down sometimes, and sometimes it's something like a business wants to be able to open in a neighborhood, and then they run into so many different barriers because people think that business is somehow out of character with the nature of a neighborhood. So how do you balance what people in the community want versus a business owner's right to be able to operate, you know, a legit and legal business in an area and be able to earn a living?
Well, that's a very good question, because I believe that it'll still come out in the end that if the neighborhood doesn't want that business there, the business will probably end up failing. You know, they can sit here and say, I don't want this tattoo shop in my area, and tattoo shop says, well, I have every right to be here, and I'm going to build my business here, and then come to find out, you know, 6 months to a year later, they're closed down. Well, maybe they should have listened to the people they're trying to sell services to. You know what I mean? So I'm with you on that, where really the government should back off, let businesses handle the way they want to handle it, let neighborhoods handle it as well. But neighborhoods should have a say in the businesses that they want in their area, and they really do have a say, just not very many people show up to that. And if a business owner wants to still put that forth and potentially lose out on their investment, hey, that's a risk they're willing to take. You know, have at it, I guess.
Yeah. All right,
yeah,
great.
no, I think that's exactly how it should operate. You know, let the market decide. You know, give the community the chance to say, hey, we don't think this is going to do well. Here's why. And if they want to make the investment anyways, great. And in the end, you kind of see the market will determine who was right there. Guys, you are listening to Radio Free New York. We're going to take a brief break. We'll be back in a moment.
more than twice the power. More powerful FM 92.1, FM 95.5 West, and 1040 AM WYSL Avon Rochester.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for today. We'll see a little bit of sunshine out there. A few clouds will gather late in the afternoon. A mild day, temperatures up around 60 degrees. For tonight, some rain showers will become likely. We'll stay in the low 40s out there. On Wednesday, mostly cloudy, some showers at times. Temps in the 50s and the 40s, breezy with showers on Thursday. I'm Rich Cadelia, WYSL.
At Victor Chevrolet, we want you to know we are here for your transportation needs. Our factory-trained specialist in the Victor Service Department can expertly handle any repair. Our concierge service can arrange for pickup and delivery of your vehicle if you choose. We are here for repairs, maintenance, inspections, warranty work, and recalls. Victor Chevrolet can help no matter where you bought your car or truck. And if you need a new vehicle, Victor can sell you a car virtually on our website, victorchevrolet.com, or by appointment at our store. Call 869-6196. Trade-ins, financing, leasing. They're all available remotely and at your convenience. We're here to fully serve Chevy customers in Victor, Canandaigua, Macedon, Fairport, and throughout the Metro and Finger Lakes. Depend on Victor Chevrolet, here for you with sales or any service issue, no matter where you bought your vehicle. Give us a call at 869-6196 or visit victorchevrolet.com. You can depend on the team at Victor Chevy for all your transportation needs, now and in the future.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alan Ginsberg of the A.M. Ginsberg Advisory Group. During these troubling times, I want everybody to be careful and healthy. You know as well as I do, we'll get over this COVID virus and the fear that it presents. Generations before us have faced terrible times as well. We're looking forward to the rise of a new day, new hope, and one day closer to the end of the COVID-19. Now is the time to show our true strength for our families, our friends, and ourselves. If you and your family need help, do not be afraid to ask for it. And if you are looking for ways to help others, please do so. To my clients or anyone who have portfolio questions or concerns, please call me at 585-377-4720. Stay safe and continue to practice social distancing.
A.M. Ginsberg Advisory Group, LLC are separate entities, independently owned and operated. A.M. Ginsberg Advisory Group, LLC securities offered through Securities America, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Securities America Advisors, Inc., A.M. Ginsberg Advisory Group, and Securities America are separate entities.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Rochester families are singing the praises of Agape Black Belt Center and the positive impact it's having on their children, teens, and adults. Many parents today are finding help for their kids with discipline, respect, and manners. For over 35 years, Master Raw has made Agape the landmark martial arts center in Rochester for families. See Mrs. Joanna Raw at 3750 Monroe Avenue, Suite 1000, Pittsford, or at agapebbc.com. Agape Black Belt Center, where leaders are made.
Tom Walls started in 1955. Since then, America has been through wars, natural disasters, and economic highs and lows. Rochester companies have had their ups and downs, but one constant, Tom Walls. Tom Walls has stood the test of time. A Wahlburger and a frosted mug of root beer on a sunny afternoon brings us closer to our past and reminds us of what is good. My name is Riley. I am Tom Walls.
Share the good times. Tom Walls.
Tom Walls is open for takeout.
Liberty Dental in Greece is open for your regular and emergency dental needs. We're available 24/7 and can see emergency patients the same day. We accept Medicaid and ensure the latest sterilization techniques for your safety. Call Liberty Dental today, 434-2090.
Radio Free New York.
right, welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. We've got Kevin Wilson with us for the Talk of the Town and City of Rochester Councilman Jose Pio on the line. We're talking about local government and how local government should act and interact during a pandemic, how they can help. And one thing I'm wondering is I noticed the City of Rochester is not doing bulk garbage pickup, and I wasn't sure if that was to try to reduce the spread or maybe it's just to reduce costs for the city, which brought up the question, is the city taking action to reduce costs because they're probably seeing a lot less taxes come in right now?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. That's one thing I brought up to the mayor was, one of the questions was the saving of the money. Was this done to save some money? But the answer to that was no, it was not. So, okay, it goes down to the second question, which is it done to help with the coronavirus? And that's what she stated was the reasoning. I kind of pushed back a little bit because we need to there's quite a few of us who are doing spring cleaning right now. And the people who are working these dump trucks, they are picking items up with a crane. You know, they're not picking up with their hands. Our garbage men, who are really the ones who are who would be the most impacted because they're out pushing the garbage cans. But if you're using a crane, can we still at least just do it once per month? You know, if it's not a money thing, let's just do it once per month so that there's not garbage flying all over the place. Come to find out, we've changed it up. Now it's at an ad hoc basis, basically. If you need them to come pick it up, just call 311. They'll set it up for the crane to come pick you up. Not you up, but your garbage.
Yeah. Oh, good clarification. No, it's good to know. I know there's a lot of people in my neighborhood who have already put stuff out before that announcement came through, and they're like, "Oh,
right.
Shoot, I don't want to bring this back into my house now."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well,
and you know.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say the information wasn't disseminated very, very thoroughly, so a lot of people just did not know. And I feel as though that's happening right now with the city, is that a lot of information is not being put out there because we're waiting on the county to really give us the information. We need to be more proactive, and that's why a lot of times on my posts, I am pushing out as much information as I possibly can on my Facebook page, just so that people can understand what is actually happening and what steps we can take in order to, you know, limit the amount of virus that we're giving around to everybody. You know, I'm doing it on Facebook, I'm doing it on Nextdoor app, I'm pushing out as much information as I can, but you know, a lot of people don't use social media. They don't know that they can't put out their bulk garbage. Yeah. Kind of tough right now.
It's a great point.
Yeah. So my question is, I mean, the city has got to be losing a ton of money because of this in terms of tax revenue. I know the state is down, seems to be about $9 billion in tax revenue. So the city, I'm assuming, they probably get a portion of the sales tax that would be generated. If commerce was happening, commerce is happening at a very limited basis. So is the city, if they're not limiting the trash collection, you know, to save money, is the city taking any action to save money?
Right now, a lot of legislations are already put forth. A lot of the projects are already kind of paid for by the states and the county. So at this point, we're kind of at a standstill where we could potentially save some money here or there, but we're getting reimbursed anyways for a lot of it. When it comes to road construction, sidewalk work, stuff like that, we're going to get reimbursed for a lot of that anyways. So where are we going to save the money? I think that's a very good question, because our budget, we're going to be well over budget. We're definitely not getting the revenues that we expected. We're not going to get the tax income that we should be expecting. We're going to hit a wall at some point, and again, I would prefer that we be more proactive about it than reactive.
Yeah. And actually, kind of a related question, because one of our listeners on YouTube was asking about it. I know a lot of local governments depend on court fines and things like that to generate revenue for the city or for their towns. Does the city rely on that? Is that taking a hit right now too? Is that something that goes on?
Absolutely. I mean, we're talking about the traffic infraction court. You know, that alone that we have put forth to help lower income. That's essentially all the courts are kind of closed, and people really aren't driving as often as they would before. You not only that, the businesses, the hotels, the restaurant industry, we get revenue from those as well. And no one's traveling to Rochester. You know, it's just, we're going to get hit hard, very hard. And we need to be ready for this. We need to have a plan in place.
Yeah, yeah. You know, my biggest hope is that government, and I know this isn't going to happen, so everybody who's listening, know this is just my idealistic dream right now. My hope would be that government, local government, county government, state government, all government looks at this situation and goes, we can get by with less. And they figure out how to get by with less and then stop charging us so much in property tax and income tax and just every tax that's out there. I mean, there's fees and taxes on other things that is built into the cost of gasoline, your cell phone bill, any little place they can, government takes tax. Now that the spigot is kind of starting to dry up, I really hope that, you know, local government, county government, state government, and the federal government look at this and go, we need to figure out where we can start cutting things because we will not get by. Now, I know that's an idealistic look. I know in reality, most government's just going to borrow the money against future generations, and they're not going to make themselves any smaller. But I hope that there are some people out there who are elected that take a hard look at this situation and say, we can do this with less, and we shouldn't be taking so much from the taxpayers.
No, yeah, I mean, you're hitting it kind of on a nose there, where we need to have problem solvers. We need people who think outside the box to be our representatives who make the decisions here. At this point, we're not solving problems. We have to learn from these types of pandemics. We have to come out of this better than we were before. And if we're not, then what are we doing?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, we've got about 2.5 minutes left in the segment. I know there was one other thing that you wanted to address. Do you think we got time for that, or?
Probably not.
No? All right.
Can you stay on for our next segment?
Yeah. Why don't we? Can you stick around for one more segment? We could talk about the other thing.
Sure, sounds good.
Sure. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So then in that case, along the lines here of what other things is city government kind of shutting down now besides just the bulk trash collection? Are they shutting anything else down?
Oh, parks and whatnot.
Yeah, the parks. We're pretty much everything is shut down. City Hall is shut down, but people are able to work from home. We're still having some people come into City Hall to do their work because they really can't do it from home. But for the most part, a lot of it is shut down. You know, most of it really is shut down. Even if you try calling 311, it may take a couple of times for you to get through before you actually get to somebody, just because we're so understaffed. We're not prepared for this.
And does that mean if somebody wanted to get married today or tomorrow, they can't get a marriage license?
That might be something that you want to take up with a higher being. He might be telling you something in that case. Well, maybe. No, I'm just joking.
I like that.
But honestly, that is something that is it's not considered essential. So they would say, hey, how about we do this when we really can? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So would you be open to proposing that the and I know this isn't meant to be like a on-air question, asking you about a proposal, but would you consider proposing that the city shouldn't have to approve marriage licenses anymore? I mean, it's something that's like you said, non-essential. Why is the city involved in other people's lives approving who they choose to spend their life with? Do you think that's something that maybe we could get rid of in the future?
That's an incredible question because I've never ever thought of it that way. Me personally, the way I look at marriage, it is just a piece of paper. So we're paying taxes to get married. Why is that? Why would that's something that me and my fiance have had discussions about in the past, where I've told her we live together, we have a life together, we share finances together. If you want a piece of paper, that's cool. I mean, whatever. But we're together. We're bonded together already. So a piece of paper that I have to pay taxes for, I don't understand it. I don't get it. But hey, I would not be against that mentality that you just brought up. But again, I would like to know why. Why do we have it in the first place?
I mean, when my wife and I got married just a couple of years ago, we essentially looked at it as we actually have to ask the city of Rochester for permission to get married.
Right.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
just
Right.
the wildest thing, and then pay money for it on top
Yeah,
of that.
exactly.
Same thing. You
So-
should be able to just declare it
Exactly.
online or something, and
Yeah, just file a paper online. Hey, we did this. Like,
Or it just
all right.
comes with your engagement ring.
yeah, exactly.
there you go.
There you go. All right, guys, we're gonna take our last break of the hour. When we come back, we've got an interesting question to pose, which is the coronavirus racist? That's a question we're gonna talk about when we come back on Radio Free New York.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Aircraft Environmental Systems proudly supports Radio Free New York. Rochester-based leaders in climate simulation chambers for America's R&D laboratories. We're experts in troubleshooting, calibrations, custom designs, and consulting for more than 40 years. Industry pioneers, we created the first ever fleet of temperature, humidity, and altitude test chambers available to rent coast to coast. Trained and trusted by environmental chamber manufacturers, we are ACES. Find us at acesinc.com.
Human trafficking is when someone is being forced, tricked, or coerced to engage in a sex trade or forced labor. If you're a kid and forced to sell sex, drugs, or work against your will, that's trafficking. You're not a criminal, and there is help available. Call the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 888-373-7888 or text Be Free. Sponsored by the Livingston County Safe Harbors Human Trafficking Task Force.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Radio Free New York.
All right, welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. We have Kevin here for the Talk of the Town, and we've got City Councilman Jose Pio on the line with us. We're just talking about local government while pandemics are happening, and we kind of wrapped up talking about marriage licenses and how right now marriage licenses are considered non-essential. So if you wanted to get married, at least in the city of Rochester, that's not a possibility right now. And we had somebody comment in on YouTube. Samantha says, marriage doesn't need a license. Get married without government permission. And I think that's a great idea. And actually, as a libertarian, I'm 100% all about that. I just don't know. Kevin and I were talking over the break, like, how do you get that recognized? You know, and I don't know the answer. What happens when you show up to a hospital or something like that? Like, can you just say, yeah,
issue.
we're married, and they just take your word for it. What happens if you file taxes? Is there some like little thing they check in the background to see if you're truly married? I don't know, but I think people should. They should just get married. You know, it's a private decision between two individuals. Government doesn't need to be in the midst of it.
Right. When you go for a mortgage, we don't ask. We don't
go ahead.
ask for your mortgage or for your wedding documents. If you say you're married,
Yeah,
you're married.
there you go.
Yeah, as long as you're adults agreeing to the contract, great.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, and it's interesting because I have heard libertarians specifically refer to marriage as simply a contract between two consenting individuals. And if you look at marriage, that's kind of all it is.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Right.
So there is something that that Jose had mentioned to me that I didn't know was happening in Rochester, and when I heard about it, I was like, yeah, we should talk about this. Jose, I'm gonna let you put in your words, that way I don't screw it up here.
No, absolutely. There's a select group of politicians who are pretty hell bent on creating an even bigger racial divide in our city. They're pushing for really gathering racial demographics of the coronavirus. And to me, that when that was brought up to me, I did ask, you know, what will this tell you? Because to me, I automatically assume that, you know, people of color are going to get the coronavirus more, are going to possibly die from it more as well, because of the situations in which we, you know, or politicians in the past have put them in. We build up this low-income housing, which houses 200 people all in one building, and we have food deserts in the city, and we give them EBT cards that, you know, for a low income that can be used for anything under the sun. We brought this upon ourselves, where people of color, mostly people of color, are going to have bad health issues, are not going to be taking care of their health when it comes to eating right. And on top of that, we pile them up in a building to live on top of each other, 200 in a building. So when we sit here and say, socially distance yourselves, what are we asking them to do? They live in a building with 200 other people. You know what I mean? And their only mode of getting to a grocery store is go down to the corner store that sells, you know, fried foods that are made to go, ready to eat, and steak subs. You know, grab and go. Here you go. Thank you. We brought this upon ourselves. If we sit here and say, I want the racial demographics of the coronavirus, you're either saying that the coronavirus itself cares about the color of your skin, or you're implying that nurses and doctors are being racial and not taking care of people because of the color of their skin. Like, to me, I know way too many doctors and nurses to even think that the majority of them are doing that. Of course you're going to have bad apples. Of course you're going to have implicit bias. Of course you're going to have that with, you know, the police department. There's going to be a few bad apples that ruin it for everybody. There's going to be a few bad apples of nurses and doctors who will ruin it for everybody. But there's in no way, shape, or form can I stand behind getting gathering this intel and then using that to say that our nurses, our hardworking nurses, are putting their lives in danger every single day, are treating people of color unfairly and giving precedence to white people who are white for the treatment of coronavirus. To me, that is unfathomable. I am blown away by it.
Yeah, and as somebody who's a former first responder, you know, when I showed up, I was an EMT. When I showed up to a car crash or any type of call, the very last thing on my mind that never even came up was the color of somebody's skin. It was about how do I get this person out of this vehicle? How do I keep their neck secured properly so to not cause any additional damage while getting them out? How do we get CPR going? How do we do this or that? You know, these are situations where those sort of things, especially in the heat of the moment, don't come to your mind. However, I think you brought up a really good point in the beginning, something that I talk about very often, and I know Kevin does as well. You brought up how the government policies that create these environments for low-income housing and these environments of food deserts in our city, this has to do with zoning. This has to do with government programs. And this is a problem that government itself has created, and they will undoubtedly take this information and twist it in a way to expand government, to make a new commission, to make a new board, to create some new program, to create some new fines or something like that, that will only make government bigger. And then to the point of what we talked about in the beginning of the show, it's just going to cost the people of Rochester, the people of Monroe County, and anywhere else this happens, more tax dollars. And we just can't financially bear it anymore. So, yeah, I see some pretty big issues here.
Yeah, and let me just play devil's advocate real quick, just because I know exactly who is making the arguments about this. And just to kind of surmise their arguments is that collecting the racial data on this information is important precisely because government policies may have led to disparate outcomes across racial groups. So if that is true, shouldn't we be collecting this information?
But there's not, in my opinion, there's no if, right? If we say that there are risks that are inherently showing that there are people who are more at risk than others. And I know for a fact it has nothing to do with the color of skin. We do need the appropriate data to understand the virus, and we need to understand the risk associated with it. The risk associated with it is that you're not socially distancing yourself, or you can't social distance yourself, right? Mm-hmm. If you have an apartment of 200 people all in one building, you're all using the same elevator, you're all using the same stairs, you're all touching the same door handles. You know what I mean? We're piling people up into the sky instead of the thousands of houses that are empty in the city and showing them how they can use this to build family wealth, how to become a homeowner to really create generational wealth. And we're talking on so many different levels that we are doing things the wrong way. We're looking at data the wrong way. And this is just going to be another one of those issues where are we going to go? Where are we going to take this? Okay, people of color will be more impacted by this. They will be, just inherently because of what we have done to them. What we have done as politicians, the decisions we have made. It makes this whole thing worse. So when we talked about before, are we going to learn from this? Okay, well, if you get this data and it shows you that more people of color are impacted by coronavirus, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're going to have Jose on again. Jose, thank you so much for joining us. You guys are listening to Radio Free New York. We will be back same time, same place tomorrow.